we've got a special guest today. So we want to speak to great people in the industry and see what we can learn from them. So David, my co-host, can't make it today, but we got Matt Baldock, and he's here to make a difference and explain. He looks after sales and lettings, so he can give us advice on both of those. So Matt, welcome today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Tony. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good. No, pleasure to have you. So as I say, so everyone, we're here to really help improve the property industry. What we're trying to get on is great guests who have been in the industry for some time and have made a difference in the industry. So Matt, I've known this business for a long time. It's a great business. So I wanted to get Matt on. So I think we can all learn a lot from people like Matt. So Matt, tell me, how did you get into estate agency?
So quite by accident, really, as is the case with a lot of estate agents. I don't think anybody wakes up and says, "Oh, I really want to be an estate agent when I'm older, or when the kids. It's not really a career path." But I actually went to law school to get a degree. I was meant to be rich. I was meant to be rich like you lot, in the solicitor world. But then left university. Didn't really know what to do, and I was just walking up and down. There's a famous street in Chelmsford called Duke Street, where it's estate agents roam. Yeah. And there was a guy in a very nice suit reading a copy of The Sun. I thought that's odd, and then went away. And then a couple of days later, I went back, and the guy was there again in a nice suit. And I thought, mistaken. I thought, well, it must be easy if that guy can earn all this money just sitting there reading the paper. So I printed out a few CVs, put them into the different estate agents. Somebody gave me a job as a negotiator trainee, and kind of went from there. That was about 22 years ago, and there you go.
How did you get into paying your own business now, don't you? So how long have you been doing your business? How did you get into that?
Yeah, so started around 22 years ago, did about 10, 11 years employed in the corporate world, and then the opportunity came up to own my own business. So I started that in March 2012. Again, to be honest with you, it's always easy from the outside, isn't there? There is a difference between being a good estate agent or a good solicitor and owning a firm. So we've certainly learned some lessons along the way.
I'm sure about that. What was that transition like? Because that's actually hard work, isn't it? Because as you said, you can be a great agent, you can be a great lawyer, but that business owner mindset is very different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really different, and you don't understand it. You're thinking when you're employed, you're thinking, I'm making all this money for that person, and they're doing really well for my hard work. But obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it. I was a very good valuer, so I would get a lot of houses on the market and win all the awards. But when you've got to do that, you don't. The phone doesn't just ring. You've got to get yourself out there, get the leads in. Then you've got to, be the accountant, the finance. As you start growing a team, you've got to be HR, and you spin a lot of hats. Start. But I thrown in the deep end, learning every day. 11 years, 12 years on, still learning. But more good times than bad. So we keep going.
Great question. So I had a very similar career path to you actually, but I was an agent first, and then I went to the law school, right. And then I became a solicitor because I was fed up with the way the deals that they were just and I said deals. So it's very similar background actually. So now, Matt, just tell the listeners where are you based now, and you've got one office. Is that right? More? How many offices you got?
That's it. Yeah. So one office. So we're in Chelmsford in central Essex, and as the way the world's gone now, you can cover a wider area. So sales is predominantly closed home. Lettings, we cover the whole of Essex and a little bit into East London. But from Chelmsford.
That like central hub basis, that works for you? Because I get a really story. Some people really make it work. Obviously, you are. Some people find that they've got to open lots of offices. So it's horses for courses. How does that work for you? Have you found you covered it okay?
Yeah, it's fine for us. I mean, at one point we did have 4 branches, and as we closed some, and then we kind of regrew again from Chelmsford. That's where me and my brother are always from. Estate agency is a very overhead intensive business, and there are some overheads you need, like your websites, etc. But I think nowadays the way the world is, as long as we can get there within about 45 minutes, and as long as we can do a good job, you can kind of travel and do bits.
Yeah. So that leads on to my next point, really. So the question I want to ask you, what is the biggest issue at the moment? What's the biggest issue for sales? And then I'll ask you about lettings. What's the biggest issue with sales at the moment?
So the biggest issue with sales is probably transaction times kind of, going through. It's managing the client's expectations with prices, because, the boom is kind of over. There's not a crash happening, but prices aren't racing away. And, their friend Sandra sold a year ago and had 20 people trying to buy the house, and you explaining to them that's not going to necessarily happen. And then, as you will fully well know, it's just managing the chain. So actually getting the chain completed and then getting that all the way through, But
I went on because those are 2 points that everyone's talking about. So let's go to point one. It's all about getting the property on the right price, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
100%.
That's what it's about, isn't it? Because otherwise, all you've got is you've got loads of stock that you're really not going to sell, and it's not actually worth having on. Is that your philosophy?
Yeah, what I try explaining to people is agents don't really want listings; they want sales. Exactly. And you can have all the stock in the world, but if you're not selling it, and you're not hiding to nothing, because you're not going to bank any money, and the customer's going to think you're useless, and they're going to go with somebody else. So it's getting the price correctly and actually having this discussion. A price reduction conversation should happen on the valuation. You should say to the customer, this is what I think, this is what we're going to do, and if it doesn't work, this might have to happen next. So a change in price should never be a surprise to a customer.
That's music to my ears, Matt. That's music to my ears, because that's the problem with the industry. Is that because if people get on the wrong price, no one's happy. It's lose-lose. And one of the things I think, Matt, when I was an agent, I always found is that people are scared to have that conversation. They're scared to have that conversation because they don't want to take it on the property. And then they're scared of saying it's a price reduction, but that's the market, isn't it? So you actually got to flow with the market, haven't you?
You have to, and again, it's the difficulty is, and I had it when I was employed. And I'm not going to say it's purely corporates, because it will happen in independents. But when you're targeting somebody very heavily to take properties on the market, they're going to put their benefit before the customer's benefit, and everything. It should be customer first. So the idea is to get that customer 100%. Moving to the next stage of their life. So actually, and people actually make big decisions. So if an agent tells somebody a house is worth 500,000. They're going to make life choices on getting 500,000. And I don't think enough agents necessarily appreciate actually how important their advice is and the impact it has on people.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Matt, I think as agents, we kind of undervalue what agents do, because if you think people base their lives on what we do, they base their lives on getting the right value. And I think you're absolutely right. You've got to be realistic with people, because otherwise they don't know what to buy, they don't know what they can invest in, they don't know anything. So getting that price right actually is what we're about, isn't it? Because if you get it wrong, you might get the property on, but you don't sell it, you get unhappy clients, and it's a lose-lose, isn't it?
Exactly.
So Matt, my second point is, and that's my rant for the day, is you're talking about smoother transactions. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's getting slower and slower with this technology. It's just getting slower and slower. So Matt, just for the listeners, the next average now, when I started, it was 8 weeks. When I started an agency, it was 8 weeks. Then the tech got better, but it took longer and longer. So then it was talking about 12 weeks. Now the last survey's been 5.5 months. It's just getting worse and worse. So when I was an agent, I wanted to turn my pipeline round 4 times a year. Now people are doing it twice a year, if you're lucky. Yeah. So what's going on there? I'm going to talk from the conveyances side, but what's going on what can you see out there?
Well, it's amazing. Sorry, I'll have my little rant, because to go to your point. So when I first started in this industry, if me and you wanted to talk, I had to pick up a landline, right? So and now we can do this. If I wanted to watch a film, I had to go to a shop and get a block like this and put it in a machine. And now I can get Netflix, I can stream stuff on my phone. But again, the average time was about 3 months, we used to say, and now, as you say, it's 4 and 5 months. So the way technology's gone, but nothing's changed with it. And I don't blame. I think conveyancers on the whole are as fed up with it as agents. There's some forward-thinking agents, there's some forward-thinking conveyancers, thankfully, like yourself at your firm. But there is also too much infighting between estate agents and solicitors blaming each other.
No,
it doesn't get anyone anywhere.
That's crazy, because why don't we just pick up the phone? One of the things that I just suggested to all the listeners, get your lawyers and conference calls. One of the things that I think is amazing that we do, when we've got a problem, we should get everyone on the phone. And when I was an agent, Matt, sometimes people give different stories. So just get everyone on the phone get all the lawyers on the phone, get the agents on the phone, get the clients on the phone, and what you can resolve on a conference call is like nobody's business. It's like amazing. So at 100%, that's the things. Yeah. Matt, you hit the nail on the head. Pick up the phone and let's deal with the problems. That's the solution, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And listen, I understand everyone's busy, right? So my conveyancing world, especially, I think there's probably less maybe conveyancers than there were. They're under a lot of pressure. There's a pressure on things. Yeah, conveyancing and agents are very similar. We're both probably not rated as highly as for the work we do, because we both play important roles in people's lives. And also, we're both under immense fee pressure from cheap companies coming into the market, right? And we have to try and hold our own. So we should have more kind of empathy towards each other. For me, it's just set the deal up right at the start. So even if I've never dealt with you before, so we can come in now, I've got a conveyancer I've never dealt with. You can say, hey, Tony, this is what I'm Matt. We both want the same thing. How do you like to work? Can I get a call once a week? And just set out the stall from the start. I'm not here to do your job, but if I can help you, let me. And just move it forward. And it's not, I think, for the sake of a 10-minute call at the very start of a transaction, you can save so much time and aggravation down the line.
Hey, can I answer your question? Because I think what's very important is, I say, again, when I was an agent, I believed in you've got to set the deal up right. Exactly what you said. So if the tool pop, obviously you can only be really trust. So you got to get, so I always tell the guys that work for us, get the financial services sorted, get the conveyancing sorted, because that is in the client's best interest, because you can actually, means that you can be sneaking to people and they'll take your call. Whereas if you get the wrong lawyer, the wrong financial advisor, you're never going to control that deal. Is that what you tried to do as well, Matt?
Yeah, as much as can. I mean, you have to be very careful on it, because agents have made a rod for their own back, obviously, and it's in the news at the moment. We've got this conditional selling where a lot of the big agencies are kind of forcing people to use their financial service. So the public are wary sometimes of the, but again, it's just it's giving people an option, really, saying, look, this is who I recommend. We do most of our transactions with them. If I phone them, they'll answer. If you want to go down the other line, that's fine. But just I'm only now as good as they are. And and you have to, and it's almost like a disclaimer at the start. So if it doesn't go right, you can say to the client, I did explain to you that kind of might happen. But as much as possible,
I think that what Matt's talking about, right, is like, obviously you can't insist that someone uses a particular lawyer. But obviously, if you really, and this is the thing, isn't it, Matt? If you actually really believe in your financial services, you're not selling it. You're just saying, look, this is best advice. This is the guide. They're great. This is who we use. Just try them. That's all you can do, isn't it?
100%, but also it goes back to the point almost about the pricing. So if I've come to your house and I've told you you're going to get more money than you are, and then I've had to tell you we need to reduce, your trust's gone. So then when it gets to the solicitor's bit and I say, use this person, but however, if when I've come around your house, I've told you what I'm going to do, I do it, we get the result I said we were going to get, and then I say, right, the next stage is the conveyancers or the financial services, again, they're going to trust in you to do it. I mean, we personally would prefer conveyancing, and it'll have to be set up at the start. I like kind of ready to market packs and things like that, ready to sell packs, sorry. I'm a believer that this industry needs a lot more upfront information, but
100%. That's another talk. We've got podcasts coming on, so that's really good. So I say it's right, but the thing is, I think it comes down to, if you really believe in your financial services, if you really believe in conveyancing, you're just going to present it differently, and the client's going to get that confidence. It's all about how you communicate it. But let me ask you a quick question. What do you think the most valuable lesson? You've been in the industry for a long time. What's the most valuable lesson that you think is what's the mindset you need to be successful in this industry? What have you learned?
So I've been interviewing this week some trainee positions, and I give them all the same advice, whether they're going to come and work for us or not. From an estate agent, you need to understand the estate agency is a lot less to do with property than people think, and mostly to do with people. So the four walls of people that people live in is the vehicle for their life story, and people are going to sell a property because something really good's happened, like a promotion, a new partner, a baby, or they're going to sell for a really sad reason, like a death or a divorce. And they need your help to go through it. So if you stop concentrating on how nice the kitchen is and actually listen to that person and what they need and how you can solve their problems, that's the bit. The oldest saying in sales is probably, you've got two ears and one mouth, use it in that order. But actually, it's actually incredibly true. You have to, don't listen to answer, listen to understand, show empathy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so what I say, stop thinking of the answer while they're speaking, because that's what a lot of people do. They don't really listen. They just think, "No, I know what the next question answer to be." Matt, we're running out of time, so I've got one other question for you. So I apologise. So, what's the best thing that you can recommend for under £100? What is the thing that you'd really recommend to people that you think you really helped you for under £100? What would you recommend?
So I'm a big fan of learning. There's another estate agent, a fantastic estate agent called Vicky Bibiris over in North London, and she said, learn as if you're going to live forever. And I love that. So I'm a big fan of reading and learning. But there's an app called Blinkist, so blink like that, IST on the end. It's £60 for a year. And what they do is a lot of books, there's about 10 real good points in there and a lot of waffle. So on this Blinkist app, they actually read the book for you, and they just tell you the 10 to 15 salient points. So you can actually get through books very quickly, but learn the important stuff. So £60 for a year, and I think that's money well spent.
And it's a great idea. I actually use that, and I use it to, and then what I do is if it's something I think really going to be used in the business, I'll get the book and I'll read it, and that's great. But Matt, thank you so much for joining me. Property Bants and Rants. We're here to help the property industry. So Matt, you're an inspiration. I like it. I know people can get a lot out of this, so I appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.